Right guys, here we go. Second try for today. Should be better now. I guess there was just some weird stuff going on with my laptop or something. But anyway, we have only played 3 or 2 games. So not much missed so far. And well, I'll just check if it's working. I did a quick test in between. It just seemed to be something that I can't explain, so probably just a weird lag spike or something like that. But okay, that's an explanation on why I went offline for a bit and why I'm only showing from now on and not the first 2 games. So go queen e1 here. Let's just talk about a bit about the game. Discover c3. Okay, so he castles, it's a normal move. And now I have to create something around his king, so I'm going for this one, and then I'm thinking here, if he goes here, I probably just sacrifice. Yeah, and I was expecting that, and he might play f6. No, he doesn't, he wants to trade even more. Okay, that's only going to work in my favor, I think. Because bishop here and queen here, just knight d7 wins me well, this wins me a free queen, but I was going to say wins me a rook, and then I can attack even more. But this is just awesome, of course. Alright, this player, we have to be a bit careful because he has bested me before. Let's play e5 here. This is a blunder, by the way. You can just play c3. I was playing a bughouse opening, and then c3 is bad because you can. Just to show you here. Just c3, and the knight has nowhere to go. And in bughouse you can then ask your partner for a pawn or a knight to put on the board, but we're not playing bughouse. But my opponent maybe didn't expect me to play knight d4 and just played knight c3 quickly, or he was just not aware of this. Okay, so he's trying to go after this one. It seems logical. I might have to sack my queen here to go this one. Yeah, let's go for that. Seems the most practical, otherwise I would just leave him with a free attack. And he can, of course, he can just take and preserve the piece balance like this, but then I'll probably play f6 and should be okay. So taking the queen is probably most principled, but knight f4 comes. With some ideas of g2 and f3 being weak. So maybe I think white is better, but there are a lot of ways to go wrong here for white. For example, a move like bishop g5 seems really natural, but then probably knight takes g2 is really strong because you can't run to d2, since knight at f3 then forks the bishop and wins material. And running to f1 is possible, but yeah, it's rather scary with all these knights then. Hey, Kadask. So maybe it is possible, but there were some problems to solve. Then now I just regained the bishop, and now basically I have 2 pieces for the queen. And he immediately made a blunder as well, winning the game for me. But once you have 2 pieces for the queen and you're not getting mated, or you're not under attack where the queen is really strong sometimes, then usually 2 pieces are easier to deal with in hand. Maybe objectively the queen is better, I don't know. But the 2 pieces are just going to be really annoying most of the time. Alright, dust ball up next. Playing pretty standard so far. So I'll just go knight e5 here. To stir things up a bit. He decides to trade queens. Maybe I should have gone knight at h6 first, a bit more precise. Don't know for sure, but here I just get a very quick, nice attack. Already I'm threatening mate, of course, on g7, so you have to cover against that. And basically, however you cover, I'm just going to go pawn here. And take again, threaten mate here. And now the knights come in to help the queen. And that's an easy mate. I think there was some more tenacious defense there. But yeah, allowing that queen trade so easy when your king is in danger, or it was not in immediate danger, but it was not protected by a lot of pieces. Okay, I forgot to berserk, but that doesn't matter. We're playing against the #1 guy, so. Hey, thanks Nightmare Gryphon. Good to have you in the chat again. So, yeah, this opening system is somewhat alright for black, if you can get this bishop into play. That's basically the thing you want with black here. So what I'm trying to do is, or at least try to not to let this bishop go crazy. So not if pawn at e4, not take it and let this bishop, but just move the knight. That's basically my game plan. Could also have gone knight at c7 here. But now I've gotten rid of his attacking piece, and I'll try to create stuff on d6 maybe. Sacrificed some material here, so maybe he's just taking all and he's being fine, I don't know. Hey, thanks for the follow, JetChess.org. Appreciate it. Okay, I'll trade and put the knight again. I think queen h5 looks interesting. If you block on g6, I can take twice and then the rook opens up. And I have this idea of going bishop at d6. And you cannot really block. but he's just bravely taking everything. Yeah. Oh, this is mate in 2. I'll show you the idea of the bishop with bishop at d6. Let's see here. If you block with the pawn, then the queen doesn't cover f7 anymore, and you have queen takes f7 mate. Or it doesn't matter which piece you block. So basically I forced him to move to these squares and then I trade queens. But he could have played another move instead of taking the knight, which is just mate in 2 very quickly. Alright, so 6 games so far, 6 wins. Started a bit late, but already at the top. It also seems that there aren't many 2200 plus players playing, but still, the monthly is always a challenge. Let's go for d5 here, and now knight e4. Recently I've played this some more, this opening setup. Also featuring some games in my Crazyhouse match, with World Championship match, with John Stuckey in some of these lines. Let's go bishop e7 here. By the way, maybe I should have honored my opponent's handle by going h5 here. He hadn't castled yet, okay, never mind. If white had castled, then h5 would have been a nice move. So an idea for black is here to try to trade a bishop and then go bishop at a4 and rook takes b7 takes bishop takes c6 and you fork this one. But it's knight at f4 is, for example, a move to trade this one and then go bishop at a4. That's one of the ideas for white in this position, as well as just going after the king side here. He goes knight at g3, so that gives me, allows bishop g6 basically, defending a bit still this square and also controlling e4. And now the knight has to move to a somewhat awkward square. Or e1, also possible, of course. And now I have to decide what to do here. I could go for knight takes d4 to gain some pawns in the pockets. Just castle first, and maybe go for f5. Leave his pieces a bit passive here for now. Okay, f5 is now basically declined. So let's go knight here to maybe sack on g2 in some lines, and otherwise just move back to f5 is also a possibility. Okay, I'll reinforce it, and if he takes, then I can take with the bishop maybe. Opens up my queen as well, and ideas at f2 are coming. Let's and I also have to speed up a bit here, so therefore not pondering long about this move, because again it's without increment. I observed, so my increment would have been gone anyway, but it's nice. It would be nice to get some time regained on the clock. Here I'm trying to provoke knight takes and then go pawn here. Because now knight takes d4 takes a couple of pawns, and this knight is doing really nicely. Here the queen can of course just retreat, but going to d1 allows pawn at e2, so the queen probably has to go around this diagonal. Right, he goes at g4, but now the queen has no squares left, so that's awkward. Let's harass h4 quickly. With h4 quickly, because he could have, he could indeed, what he's trying to do now, go for a quick attack. He missed mate, by the way, so bishop takes g3 was necessary. So I was trying to create something here anyway. But my king is indeed not very safe, that's well spotted by him. But yeah, he just missed an easy checkmate there in the end. He played, he had a nice position before. Alright, so let's see who's playing. Banana Joe, also usually in these tournaments. Bughouse Knight also playing. Had some nice series today and yesterday as well. With Bughouse Knight, he's extremely fast in time troubles. So I played some 1-0 with him. It was nice to practice my mouse speed a bit combined with playing strong as well, because he's not only fast, he's also really strong. This is already looking really tricky. Maybe even knight takes d4 before queen e7 was also just fine. Because how are you going to defend against this? Maybe knight a4. Okay, he decides to go for bishop e3. This allows some pieces for me. Let's see. What's the best way to continue here? Could take this one, could take this one. I might go pawn here. Let's try that. He just had rook takes. Okay, I missed that completely. I was thinking about this one and this one. But oh well. Still some attack going on here. Queen at d4, bishop d7, takes, knight at c2 wins the queen back, so that's okay, I guess. And then now queen at a4 is no longer possible, and I still have a nice attack. Let's go rook here. Just for fun, he couldn't take it, since this is the mate in 2. It made him use a blocker, basically. Maybe it wasn't the best move, but it made for a quick win. Okay. So far so good. Let's see. Relative new player, it seems. So let's see what he got. Let's just play this knight f6, knight c6, d5 again. No, let's just go bishop f5. There's a bishop d7 is also a possibility. This is a nice setup for white, and tough to break. Let's go rook b8 before he goes rook b1. Okay, let's go bishop here now. Attack c2 and also prevent the knight drop on h5. He can go knight f4 and then knight h5 anyway, but it stops it for a while. This I'll take and go knight f5. And knight b2 threatens the queen and threatens to take here and then take on d3. And now I feel like my opening troubles are over and black is now a bit taking over. Where to put the bishop? Let's put it here so maybe the knight can drop to d3. Depends a bit on where he goes with the queen. Yeah, now I like knight d3 to get this piece back into play. Where does the queen go? We'll see. Because now, for example, there's this idea. Take, take, queen takes, and knight at e2. So already looking really nice, and white decides to resign. Okay, happy with that game. Always good to, when you play a player you haven't played before, to win the first game. So Banana Joe still on 100%. Strong performance so far. But already 60 points ahead, so that's nice, but probably we'll encounter a loss someday, but we'll try to keep the winning streak going as long as possible, of course. Alright, also one of the regular arena players, I feel like. Let's see, he goes for d4, d5. Okay, let's play this bishop g5. Don't know much about it, but it's been in fashion lately to play like this. Okay, let's just go here. Bishop d3. Maybe, and therefore probably I'm not playing it correctly. But one of the ideas is that e6 is a bit weak. So you have your bishop on h4, you provoked f6, and now you try to make use of the fact that e6 is weak. Let's take with the pawn. Drop the bishop back. Maybe just go knight f4. Or bishop here is also interesting. To provoke takes and then go knight f4. And if e5, then I take here, and then bishop at e6 is one of the reasons why this is dangerous for black. Because now e6 opens. Let's take with the knight first, and then with the bishop. Because now e6 is open as well as h6 is going to be a problem. So let's stay and go pawn e6. Depends a bit on where he goes. What's coming next? I think I'll just take and go knight f7. Oh, that's clearly a slip. Oh, I almost pre-moved this one, but it's still really strong actually. Yeah, that was an obvious slip, I guess. I guess he meant to take on g6, but then knight at f7 also is an interesting move. And problems are occurring around the black king. So yeah, it's not best play by both sides, but that's one of the reasons why you play bishop g5, provoke f6, just drop the bishop back. Right, Banana Joe, let's use the full 5 minutes this game. Hey, Hercules. Saying that's he had to think while playing me, and I think that's the reason for my victory in the following game. Also against nice. Good job, you beat 2400. Yeah, you almost got me as well. That's I was fumbling a bit with my stream. The first time around it didn't work the way I wanted it to go. Okay, let's go knight e5 here. Maybe fortify with f4 actually. No, let's just go f3. Take on c3. And leave the knight here. Maybe even sack it if he goes f6. So I guess he has to take here first. Yes, he does. And now if f6, probably just fortify this one. Maybe with f4 even in this case. Don't know yet. The problem is if I move the knight, then queen h4 ideas are threatening. Okay, so this gives me... This is probably not the most precise move. It gives me the option of playing knight g4, I guess. Because now the queen is not so threatening on h4 anymore. So sacrifices on h2 are much less to be worried about. Just play rook b1. Because almost all the time the reaction is going to be rook b8, and this is always in white's favor, I feel like. Or most of the times. Anyway. Because when in an attacking line I need to gain a pawn, I just take this one. And if I need to win a heavy piece and I have a knight in hand, I can always play knight at c6. And if you take, then I can take the rook. So the position is just better for white with the rooks on the b file than the rook on the a file. Because the rook on b8 is still doing, well, close to nothing. Okay, so I guess e4 is now the way to go. Does give him a pawn in hand, so probably we have some trades next on f6, or I have to move back. He still has a nice safe king position. He's inviting trades himself already. Maybe take on g7 actually is nice here. Let's try that. Sack a piece for a pawn here, and if you take, I play bishop at h6. Ooh, I almost took with the queen, but that allowed knight at e2. So I have to take with the rook. Then it probably isn't as good as I thought, because I was planning on taking on with the queen. Just completely missing this knight fork. And now just probably a bishop at g5 holds everything nicely together. Maybe I go bishop at d2. It's not so easy for black. And if you don't take the knight and just let me play knight h5, I just won a pawn, and your king is weak. So okay, maybe the sacrifice is alright. Usually the sacrifices on the g file, on g2, are not that forcing, because you don't have to take, and the knight in front of the king is a useful defender. Okay, this is basically asking for a trade by me, and then I can improve the position of my queen. He could play bishop at g5 here, But then I might play pawn at e3. Okay, he decides to go for it. I guess I'll take with the king. Yeah, otherwise if I take with the knight, pawn at h2. So now I'll just retreat the knight, guard g3. And also create threats of, for example, taking and bishop at f4. And let's reinforce this one first. Takes is possible. But if takes, probably just take here. My knight on h5 is hanging, that's a bit annoying if I take on g5. Okay, so I'll take here, and if pawn at h4, I'll just move the bishop. Or even just take on g5, allow this. Yeah, I guess I'll just take here and go for the defense for a few moves. It's just bishop here to reinforce the knight, queen h4 invited, okay. But bishop here is a nice idea. I think I can just play it anyway. Knight takes g4, just queen takes. So he doesn't lose the queen here, but now I have a nice defensive line in front of my king. And also threatening a quick attack with pawn at h6 and knight at e7. And he's also running down on time as well here. So it's looking alright for me. Deciding to go quickly after knight at e7 ideas. Okay, he has allowed it already. Now I'll just stack my way in. Pawn at g7, bishop takes h6. That's leading to mate because I can take this one in between. That's maybe it was also mate with bishop at g5. Probably it was, but this is just clean as well. And let's finish like this and mate with the pawn. Alright, happy to take down one of the topper players there in the tournament at least. And we're still undefeated after the first hour. Hey, thanks for the follow. Kradam Kureshi, I guess that's how I pronounce it. Hopefully I done it correctly. Alright, so this one again. Let's just play d5 and a6, preventing bishop d5, bishop e5 and knight e5 ideas. Now bishop f5, bishop g6, and if white is slightly better in most of these lines. As white is always a bit better in Crazyhouse. Ooh. But you don't have the luxury most of the times to give away a free piece. Let's take with the pawn. And just retreat the queen. Doesn't really matter that much, I guess. e7 feels like a bit more safe, guarding some squares here if I want to play f6, which looks interesting. There's this, sorry about that, there's this fly that's been bugging me for a while. So I'll go f6. Yeah, if I want to take with the pawn to leave the knight on g3, but then he can take on e4 for free. So I'll take with the knight to go knight takes e4. Okay, so now I'll take on f3 because he was threatening to take here, and I'll just try to attack on f3 and f2, provoke his weaknesses. Let's go knight e4. Because well, this bishop is on the dark square, but actually the dark squares are really weakened around his king. So he's doing the right thing here of trying to reinforce them. So okay, I go pawn at f2. And I'll just try to arrest this. Because knight at g3 is something I really want. He should have tried to cover g3 more. Because now the defense is breaking off around this king, and I'm winning a lot of material here, while still having attacking potential. Let's go queen at f2 here, because there's knight takes f3 with mate in 2, because you cannot take back because of the pin, and then king h1 and just take the rook. But also if you cover against this, let's say you cover g4 with bishop at g4, then I probably still have knight takes f3. Yes, I have, because pawn at g3 and rook at h2. So queen at f2 probably won the game by force in a couple of moves there. Alright, just friendship. A friendly name, but let's see if he also wants to hand me the game. Taking here, pawn d5 looks interesting. Let's just go for it. It's also possible to sack the queen there and try to play for the material, the light pieces and the pawns, and then prove that the queen isn't that useful on its own. Okay. Wow, okay. Not expected that. But let's go knight at g4 anyway. But I think it's a nice idea, because if you go with the queen, knight at g4 was coming as well. So now I'm just trying to provoke the dark squares. Basically, I can take here next. If I want, I can also go bishop at e7. He's now provoking me to take on h6. I'll go bishop here. He can take this one, sack the queen, but I can put the bishop here again to go bishop at takes f6, for example. I'll take g7 first to lure the king out. Maybe queen d4. This doesn't look right. Let's see. Queen here. Yeah, because now pawn at e7, queen here, and queen c7 mates. If king d7, just queen e7, king c8, queen c7. Alright, again a new player for me. Let's switch it up with b6. Usually, actually the best way is to go for a quick e4, probably. But usually when you play for d4 and knight f3, you're not that focused on playing e4 quickly, so then you can kind of get away with some of these bishop b7 lines, trying to control e4 yourself. But now he's going queen d3, so he might want to push e4 anyway. So I'll guess knight d5. If takes, then just take with the pawn. And the bishop here is now is semi doing nothing, but the control over e4 is important here. Because now he has to play e3 and bishop e2, and then that's okay for white, of course, but the bishop isn't doing that much. And if e4, it just gave him a big center. So that's why I went for this one. And for me, I'll just keep my bishop on the f8, I guess, since knight at h5 will be insta-played if I play bishop e7. So I guess just queen d7 here. If knight at e5, I can take, but I can also opt to do something else. Where to block? That's always a hard question. I think at e4. And he might try to attack it with knight d2 or knight at d2. But maybe I can play f6 in some lines. And knight c6 or knight a6 also possible, and then castle long. That would be something. Or ideally you would like a pawn on d3 now to harass the knight. But you don't have that, and it's also hard for him to take one. Yeah, I don't think f6 hurts my position that much. But maybe it's better to play the knight first. So I'll play knight a6 first to go f6 next. g3 is a nice idea because he may have a bishop on h3 in the future as well. Yeah, that's what he's going for. Pretty obvious. Looks hard to defend. I might just allow it. Go for f6, take it, and castle. Because now at least my king is safe. This bishop is hanging. Bishop at g4 is a nice idea for me as well. in a few minutes say knight at d8 was nice for white. After f6 maybe? Maybe something here. Or maybe before I played here. Maybe here knight at b8. Oh yeah, looks interesting indeed. Okay, so bishop e7, queen at e6, I guess. Bishop at e6. Yeah, I'll go bishop at e6. Because if knight takes d8, I take the rook, and then it's really dangerous to allow queen at e8. Good luck, yeah, thanks, in a few minutes. Yeah, it might have been good and a nice idea, because you were attacking f7 as well as the bishop on b7. But knight takes, queen at e8 is interesting here. We'll see what he plays. He's taking his time. Okay, he takes that one. I'll take the rook. And now, yeah. Okay, he takes his time to get some safety. I would love a knight on g2, of course. So I guess just move the bishop back to e6. Keep it safe. Take some pieces. Allowing pawn here is a bit sloppy, I guess. I could take and allow bishop takes. Take the bishop, but I don't think that's the way to go. So I'll go bishop here, and then I'll try to go rook at to provoke pawn at f4, basically, to take the pawn, and then go pawn at g2 and rook at h1. Wow, he goes just f4. He's finally going after a6, but now I have time to take the knight, and knight at g2 is just looking nice. Yeah, I can allow taking here. I can take this. Ooh, maybe I allow bishop at h6. Oh yeah, I think I did. That's dumb. It doesn't kill me. It seems that I'm just safe here, but it was really unnecessary. What to do here? Guess bishop at d2, and knight c4. I really need him to sack the queen. Okay, and now I run like hell to d7. And now his time is running out as well, and his attack is also running a bit dry. Okay, let's just go queen at h2 to try to take material. Yeah, now I'm winning a lot of material. This one I feel like is nice. Yeah, and he's running out of time. Played a nice game. Well done. I almost lost there on c6, and maybe with just another sequence he had some win there. I don't know. But luckily we are keeping our 100%. Alright, Anjur Nakamura. Strong opponent. Going for a bishop g4 himself after my bishop g5. Let's play h3 quickly. And then e3. He's going for bishop d6. Also bishop b4 is an idea there. A castle. Preventing knight b5. Maybe I should have played knight b5 first before this one. Let's see if we can figure something nice move here. Kind of want to go g4. Let's try it. Let's not also overthink this too long. It's a good. If the bishop is still on h5, you cannot play e4 basically, because the knight takes d4 is an idea. But now it is possible. Now the knight can come to e4. I can take this bishop, and I can also sack on f6 in a couple of lines. Maybe just bishop g3, because now pawn at g5. I'll take with the knight and preserve the bishop here. I must admit that I missed that move. Okay, c3. Kick the knight out. Before I do anything crazy, there are bishop it takes h7 ideas, for example, pawn g6. But with the knight on d4, a sacrifice on h4 is just too easy to spot. And then a knight drops on f3, a pawn drops on e2. So first kick the knight, and then maybe think about crazy stuff. And if he decides to attack, for example with pawn at d2, I can just take it, and then I've regained my pawn. Okay, I'll go for this now. I think it's time to try to gain initiative. He might not even take it and play something like bishop at g2, d5 to aim at g2. Then I might just go rook e1. I don't know yet. A nice move. I'll still go for this. He's covering f7 and he's attacking h7, so. Let's go bishop here. Maybe take this. I guess take with the bishop, sack on e7, put a pawn on d6. And give him no time to take my knight. He's speeding up, so I should speed up as well. Bishop here to go knight at g6. It's really hard to cover against that. So he might try pawn at h2 to go queen c7 or something. So just king h1. Okay, now knight at g6, so this is defended. Take the queen. Yeah, now there are a lot of mating threats, so he cannot attack himself. Knight here. Oh, I didn't expect him to take with the rook, but still the pre-move should be fine. Preserve the queen for d6. That's basically what I'm doing here. Or for f8. Okay. Okay, so beating Anjiro Nakamura as well. Nice. Still on 100%. Alright, this guy again. He almost beat me last game. Okay, so he's going for bishop c4, and usually it's a good idea to wait if black moves the pawn to e5. Because now I can play e6, d5. And of course there's not much wrong. But just the gain of this tempo might be annoying for white. Because you would like the bishop already to be on b5 here, so you can play something like queen e2. Where to drop the pawn, or just go bishop e7. I think I'll drop the pawn here. Because bishop e7, there might have been some pawn g5 ideas. Making use of the pin still. So yeah, he goes for this. Okay, so here if I go bishop d7, he probably goes pawn g5 and knight takes g5. So actually maybe it's still okay for white. And I was just talking about that bishop c4 move being a bad one. Okay, I'll go bishop d7. If he goes pawn g5, we'll see. Okay, he doesn't do it, so that's nice. Let's go knight e4 actually. I didn't like bishop g5 after a bishop move. And I know now I'm sacrificing a piece or a pawn. But I get some play here with this one. Yeah, and he decides to give up the queen, but I just don't take it. Go bishop here. Because then I have the option of taking here next. And then all his developed pieces are gone. And I can think about starting the attack before him. Problem for me is that he does have more pieces now since I sacrificed the pawn, I think. Yeah, I'm a pawn down. But he has 3 pieces in the bank and he needs a couple of moves to put them on the board as well. Okay, so knight f5 seems obvious now. So let's just do it, opening up the queen. As well as knight takes d4. Probably making him use a pawn on one of these squares. And next I can try something like knight h4 and bishop at g2. Maybe sacrifice on d4 is on. Or just develop. We'll see. Okay, pawn at c3 plate. I think I have to preserve. Or I have to develop. And play a6 maybe. think I'll go bishop d6. If pawn g5, I can even consider taking it. Yeah, okay. Let's attack this one immediately. The problem is now that he does have some bishop at b5, disrupting my pawn structure. Alright, I'll take and go knight at h4. This seems like a mistake, because now I have this fork, and rook g3 would be a nice defensive move normally, but rook g3 is just getting chopped off the board, and then the threat on f3 is still on. And also now queen b5 or bishop at b5 ideas are not that interesting anymore, because just c6, queen takes b5, bishop takes f3 looks sort of really strong. So yeah, I guess this is the way to go, to give up the rook for the bishop. But rook at e1, I don't know. Guess rook at e1 does give him some extra pieces, but I still have a lot of active pieces left, so I'll just go for this. I can take this pawn if I need a pawn. I can take here. The queen can come into play as well. So if he takes the knight or not, I think there are just problems for him. Okay, so what to play here? Thinking about knight takes f3 actually. I think I'll just go for knight takes f3. Queen here. Because I can also take f2 probably in some lines. Depends a bit on how he blocks. If he blocks with the rook, pawn at e2 and take this one. And then some bishop f4 ideas. Yeah, so go here, takes, and now bishop f4. The knight is also on prise here. Bishop at e and b5, good move. Let's preserve the pawn because he's going to take here anyway. Bishop f4, I guess. Let's take this one. I want to go something like pawn at d2. I guess I'll just go pawn at d2. That gives up the rook, he fell for it. I think you can take with the king. I think it was safe. Yeah, the queen sack should be good here. Take knight at e4. Mates. Yeah. Rook at e3 if the king moves up. And queen d5. And bishop at b4. And b5. Alright. And just to show if the king moved back here, then there's a pretty easy mate in 2 with bishop at f2, king f1, rook at g1. Okay, so still on 100%, Nice. We play this one. Alright, let's berserk. And he decides to berserk back. Not necessary, of course. You can. Some people think berserking back is a right, but it isn't necessarily the case. So actually the most principal move there is knight c3. But this looks okay as well. But now I've developed my bishop here and I can play bishop b4. So yeah, now the queen isn't that scary here anymore. Let's play pawn at h3 to discourage castling. Could also have gone for pawn at a3 maybe. But now I'm trying to put on early pressure. Take here and take on f3 and maybe knight at h4 I was thinking about. Maybe he just takes g7 and says, well, I think you're bluffing. So maybe knight f6 first. Or just queen h5 also looks okay. Alright, I'll just go for knight f6. Let's not ponder too long here. Because now at least there's some developed piece here covering d7, and g7 is still hanging if I take here, but it will be less interesting, I guess. Okay, now queen h5 is basically forced. Idea here is probably to take here and go pawn to g4. Maybe if pawn at d5 first, we'll see. Or just bishop here or queen here is also interesting. To arrest the rook. Let's go for that. Let this one be. Because already bishop after rook g1, bishop takes. And he has no time to take on b7 now. Almost a rook h1 or rook f1. Seems like forced already. King e2 might be might be also possible. Yeah, I felt like at knight at f5 here. I think I'll just go for knight at f5 quickly. Could trade queens here. Takes. Yeah, let's do that. Hey, thanks for the follow. VNGL1. Yeah, now queen at g1, I guess. Knight at f1 covers the knight, so that's okay for him. But he needs knights to attack me on, and d7 is covered, e7 is covered, so it should be okay. I should have taken with the king. I'm just dropping this for no reason. Alright. Probably going to sack the queen in some line. Let's threaten mate. Cheeky. Okay, let's take a piece. Get some sense of safety here. And then just not get mated, and he probably runs out of time. And also now there is a mating attack. D3 only move and then knight at G1. Okay. So the streak continues. We have Dabasi again. Let's just play knight f3. Bishop c4, okay. I think bishop g4 is was maybe coming, but he is not playing for bishop g4 just yet. Okay, then I'll go for bishop g5 and e5, I guess. So h6 takes, e5 takes, knight e4. Might be interesting. e5. Yeah, just e5. Let's not overthink that. I don't think you should take and just go knight g4 immediately, because trades favor white here, since the king is the king of white is much safer actually than the black one, and also pawns will be good on these dark squares that are weakened. So probably one of the safest moves might be pawn at g7 to fortify that square. Okay, now I'll just take again, bishop at g5. Almost winning the queen already by force. Probably by force. Yeah, if you cannot, if you move here, maybe you can save it for a couple of moves. If you move here, knight at g7 wins. Okay, wow. He's just throwing the game now. Let's go bishop b5 then. Okay. Yeah, when you play those e6 d5 e6 d6 lines, for example, don't know if he is online. No, it's not. A player, the lone wolf, is a very frequent player of these e6 d5 e6 d6 systems. The idea is that you put your bishop on g4 quickly and play for e5, but not play e5 immediately, because that will lead to a lot of other lines. Hey, thanks for the follow, Historix 2020. Okay, so e3, just play a bit of a passive setup here. Maybe knight h4. Historic saying, I think it's clear who is the greatest here. Thanks for the compliment. It's going well indeed, this tournament. I'll take here. And block the bishop on d6. I think just on e5. On g3 would have also been possible. I'm going to do that next. But yeah, since I've played a bit passive, this bishop is doing nothing. The bishop really needs to be on a much more active square. Okay, I'll trade, because now the bishop is no longer in the way of d4, so e4 becomes an option. I think I'll go for e4 now. He has a lot of pieces in hand, so he can try to attack me, but for now it seems safe to go for e4. Let's take on d5, I guess. To go pawn at h6 or bishop f4 maybe. Could also go on for something like pawn at d6, rook e1. It's still available next, I guess. Okay, I'll take. Maybe 96. Yeah, I think 96 is okay. Because I can go here and go rook at h6. So there's still no taking twice here. And if necessary, I can sack the rook. But yeah. So yeah, I was about to say I think he's going to sack. Okay, he's going to sack mate even. Sack mate and he will win next game. Okay. So far, so good. And the streak continues. Alright, Banana Joe again. With black pieces. Let's respond with d5. Play e6. And now I think I can play f6. Wow, he has prepared something here, I guess. If I take queen h5 comes, okay. This is interesting. Okay, so I guess I'll take this one. Nice idea. I think this is the way to go, but I'm not sure. Going bishop b4 because I think c3 might be weakening. Tempted to take here now. Queen trade takes. Bishop g5. Knight e7. Doesn't look nice for me. So could go knight at g6 first. Okay, let's try knight at g6. Interesting line. The reason why I go knight at g6 first is then there's no queen h5 anymore and the bishop is attacked, and maybe just bishop e7 was also fine. But I'm also thinking about if he takes, just taking on e4. Okay, so he plays this. I think I'll give up my bishop. Because pawn at f5 is annoying. Okay, I'll take. And now he can take this bishop. He can also just develop. Really interesting stuff by Banana Joe. Okay, he goes for that one. So I think we need to unpin this knight somehow. So go pawn at f7. It's better to preserve the pawn in hands sometimes, but now I feel like this hole on f7 needs fixing. As well as now I have an immediate threat of taking here, so is to deal with that. And for example, if bishop g5, a move like queen d4, queen d5 is possible. I think queen d5 might be best to threaten e5. So therefore white might lean towards going bishop at g5. But then he used his bishop, so that's also sort of a victory for me. Okay, he's going to use his bishop in a slightly more defensive way. Okay, developing. Let's develop the pieces. I think bishop d7, just develop some more. And if I get the chance, I want to go queen e7, maybe castle, or at least have the option there. Could take here, could take here. I think I'll just take this one. Because now he probably castles. Yeah, he does. But there are options now, at least for me. I think I'll go here. And the idea is to take on b5 and go bishop at c6. Because before I could also have gone for this, but then he can sack on c7. And now if he sacks on c7, his queen is hanging. So the sacrifice will be less forceful. Okay, and there's also for him the possibility to go queen takes b7, but just bishop at c6 should still be okay. Or even bishop c6. But I feel bishop c6 allows bishop at b5 as well as taking queen takes b4, so just bishop at c6 is best. And then we might see queen takes b5, bishop takes, knight takes b5. But then his king is open, and I have a lot of firepower in hand. Bishop, pawn, and queen, and also the option of going here or taking this one. So tough position for white here. You can also see that we have only played 50 moves, and we're both used he used over 3 minutes. I almost used 3 minutes to figure out his idea in the opening, or the many ideas that were in the position. Okay, so yeah, problem is that bishop at c6 is coming anyway. So what are you going to do against it? Okay, he's playing rook d1. I think I'll even just go for this anyway. Yeah, to be expected, of course. I think pawn here, then maybe knight h4. And there's or even just taking and knight at h3. And don't mind trading the rook for queen. I think I'll take. Yeah, I'll take. His problems are still not over. For example, knight here, or knight at here. Looks really strong. Or taking here first. Depends a bit on what he does. Okay, I think knight here and then knight at f3. Maybe he had some ideas of bishop takes e6 as well. So I have to be forcing here. Yeah, and he's running out of time, but yeah, he has no attack as well. Queen takes, just bishop takes f1 even, and he only has pawns in hand. And I'm threatening mate in a lot of ways. Nice game. A nice inventive opening. Maybe it's been played before, and no, maybe it's good for white. And he just failed to execute. Alright. Let's berserk again. Okay, let's go for d5 again. Bishop g4. Let's go f6 again. Yeah, let's try f6 again. e4 maybe. Okay. Not this time. No sacrificing of the queen. Alright, so it just developed normally. This knight is probably coming here. Yeah, just keep on developing. Maybe bishop f7 or taking. Okay, I'll take. And knight f5 I was thinking. Or just castles first. I think castles first. And now knight f5. Can take here and then take on d4. If I take, he will take here in between. Okay, I don't mind that actually. So now I can take this one. Takes, bishop at f7, takes. Takes, knight takes d4, looks good. That this doesn't really matter because now he's going to take on f7 anyway. And his defenders are gone, so you cannot take the knight because it loses the queen. Let's take here first to lure the king out. And the king has to move up now to not be mated in one move. Maybe there's mate with pawn g4, I don't know, but just taking the queen is going to be devastating as well. Queen at g2 is a threat. Queen d7, I guess. If bishop at f3, pawn at f5 is always an option, but maybe there's more here. I think I can sack the queen on g4. You cannot take, of course, because there's a pin. And this should lead to mates. Yeah. If here, then pawn here, and if king g3, rook at g2. Okay. Banana Joe stating in the chat that the e4 was a mouse slip, but I felt it was a really strong idea actually. I'll check it later. Alright, let's just play this line. Maybe h4, h5 with bishop e2. I think he's going for knight e4, yeah. And maybe I'll take and castle. Or castle immediately. Forget about h4 for now. Could still be on later. It's a nice idea against this setup. Now f3 to kick the knight. He would really like a diag, but the only diags he can take is with this knight. Sorry, like this, and then pawn at d2 is no longer that strong. So, alright, I'll take and go f3. And now I could try knight at d2, but I'll just take this one. Knight c5 looks nice. Don't know if it's that good really. Maybe just... Yeah, okay, it looks okay. Controlling e6 looks nice in this position. Especially because bishop at e6 next move will be a free check. Blocking with the knight is going to be inconvenient for him. And also I could think about breaking with e4 maybe. Okay, so bishop at e6 first. And then e4. Maybe this bishop joins. Pawn at h6. A lot of ideas in this position. For white, also a lot of options for black to defend, of course. Some of the concrete ideas are also bishop takes d6, takes and pawn at e6. But this bishop just looks okay. g5, alright. Can take here and then go knight at f5. I think I'll just go for that. Yes, this knight is hanging, but I have, for example, pawn at h6 as well as taking here and dropping a knight on h6. Also looks nice. If takes, there's also still bishop c4. Maybe I'll play bishop c4 now. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Keep on giving this knight. If he takes pawn at e7, queen here, take on f7. Is a nice line for white. Or just taking a bishop and putting even more pressure on. Knight at f4. Okay, I'll go here. Go for this plan. Yeah, of course not queen b8, free pawn. Take here and go bishop at e8. Probably take this one in some lines as well. But even if he tries knight at h3, just king h1 is perfectly safe. Let's see if there's some sort of mate here. Knight at e6 looks nice. If he takes it, I think there's mate. Okay, now I can just take the knight, because knight at f7 mates in 2 or 3 moves. Depends a bit on how he defends. Knight here, king here, rook at h8 is the mate threat. So yeah, bishop at g8, okay. It's not mate or not mate just yet. Let's just move back and go knight at f5, maybe. Not overthink here as well, just play for a practical position. Where he has not a lot of chances, and I hold all the cards. Okay, free bishop. And now it's going to be tough to stop the mate. Maybe you can sack the queen. Hold out a bit longer. But still, I'll just promote. Now you have to take with the rook to stop mate. And I'll take again. And still you cannot save against knight takes f7 or rook takes g8. Okay, so he decides to resign, and we're still on 100% and 99 points as well. Alright, Anju Nakamura again. That's Berserk. Let's see if he Berserks back. Let's play e4. Let's see what he does. Okay, he goes for e6. Let's play d4 then. And knight c3. Takes. This. How to play against this. I think knight c3, bishop b4 is coming. Let's not think about this too long actually. Just play a3. Harass the queen soon. That's basically my tactic here. So yeah, this pawn is a bit annoying. Could make a draw here. But that would be a shame of the winning streak. But maybe I should have made a draw. Objectively speaking. Okay, let's take... If rook takes knight f4, at least. I thought knight f4. Bishop at g4 just takes. Maybe you thought bishop at g4 was saving here. If not, I'm just winning a lot of material. Yeah, bishop at g4 takes the queen. Queen at f8 looks really tough to deal with, but it might be safe. I don't know. Something you need to consider at least. And it's gaining me time on the clock, so that's nice. And if you for example, where you're going to move the queen, there's a lot of options, and every option has its downside. So maybe you just sack the queen and move the rook. Or you try to find an attack here. All these thoughts are probably now going to my opponent's head. And you cannot really use that when you are yeah, in a 2.5 minute game, I don't think it's wise to think for so long. Let's take with the queen, I guess. Bishop here, knight takes g7 is what I was going to play. You also have to watch out for rook at h8, pawn here. Okay, so it goes with the queen, but now there's no mate on d1, so I'll just go here. And pawn at the back rank. Yeah. This is looking really good for white. Whereas out of the opening I wasn't sure. But now, yeah, I'm just winning a piece here, and his back rank is weak still. Knight takes g7 was coming with rook on g8, and his time. All right, so for now the strongest player, I guess, in the top. Happy to beat him. Anti-suicide, strong player as well. What to play? Let's play knight. Let's start with knight f6, knight c6. He's playing knight f3. Okay. I guess we can play e5. Okay, he's going for the Spanish. I'm playing this a bit quickly, but I think it should be alright. Takes. Don't know about if queen d8 is the best here. Maybe queen h6. Yeah, let's go queen h6. He's playing very quickly, so I think he knows what he's doing. Knight at f5, sure. Queen f6, preserve the bishop, because diags are killing me. While I say that I trade my bishop, but now I have initiative on his queen. So yeah, not so easy. Nice, quick game by him. He's playing quickly, or he already gained time on me. So he goes for the pawn. I think I can take the time to go for this one. Okay, now it's looking good for me. That was a blunder. I'm not saying it's winning immediately, but this is looking nice. So it's hard to capitalize with just the queen. So I'm leaving the queen in hand for this move, trying to make some sort of material gain, so I can try to poke f4 or f3 maybe. I probably just missed what you are suggesting, an entire sleeve. Suggesting knight at d7 at some stage. Yeah, I don't really have the time to check it. But I think indeed from both sides knight at d7 was an option before. Yeah, good luck. Okay, so now one of the ideas is to go, as we saw in a previous game, to go knight f3. Let's not think too long here. Just go for this. There was maybe knight f3 takes and some queen sack there. I'm just going for the attack quickly here. And when I have the time I can take this one, but it does leave the defense of g5. So therefore I didn't take it just yet. Because now, yeah, basically threatening mate here. And it's not so easy to come up with a defense. Yeah, he already feels almost went for the pre-move there. I think taking the rook. Yeah, let's take the rook. Rook at h2 is the threat. So bishop at h2. Let's see what we do against that. Bishop at h2. Knight takes h4, I guess. And then sack the queen on h4. And then hope we have mate, but I guess the king cannot run back, so the king will be boxed in there pretty soon. As soon as the king walks to g3, I have queen f4, and the bishop is no longer covering. Now this is allowing this. This is much easier. Because now the rook will be made on a lot of squares. Okay. So white could have improved there in the opening probably. An entire sleeve was already suggesting something. But after he allowed the piece trades there, and he went a bit greedy there for the pawn on c6. I think that's, yeah, it's a really tough decision to make when to go greedy or when not to go greedy. When to play for an active attacking move, or when to capitalize on your material. Let's take actually. Let's just harass this. Discourage castling. I thought I was also preventing this, but I guess yes. If rook here, pawn at h7, takes, promotes bishop here, bishop takes h6. Okay, so he probably correctly decides to sack the rook. But now already it's looking nice for me. Ah yeah, now that the game is over you can run stockfish on it indeed. And check for the right move. Alright, yeah. I felt indeed like he had a huge advantage. Okay, he gave up a pawn here to open up the position, to get some free development. Why I went bishop f4 is because I want to go pawn here, and then maybe sack for a pawn. Depends a bit on where he goes. For example, if he goes back, no, he doesn't go back, so doesn't really matter now. But if he went back, rook at c7, king d8 was the idea. Okay, now rook at c7 mates. But just to explain, then king here, rook at c7, king here, pawn d7 mates, then I just take the pawn. If here, I just take the pawn. Same idea. Alright, so who's going to stop the streak? And then just looking at this, maybe a bit, how do you call it, narcissist. Alright, Ahmed Nazir. Let's just stick to knight f6 and knight c6 or d5 first. Knight e4 first. Especially with the knight on f3, you don't have to be scared about f3 stuff. You can just go knight e4. And now with bishop d3, you can sack on f2 or take c3. Couple basic options there. But he goes for the somewhat more aggressive bishop b5 to try to gain advantage of c6 later on. Or just move it back if I play a6. Okay, so I'll go h5 here. Quick aggression. And if he allows it, I just push all the way. Then I have the open h file. And bishop e7 is now also becoming an option. Okay, let's trade. H4 could be okay. Knight at a5, maybe you have to worry about that. So maybe just a6. Because bishop at e4 is also now an idea, since the queen is on d3, as well as bishop at c4. So he might opt to move back. Okay, he's going bishop g5. I think queen d7 is an option here, as well as taking here, sacking everything. Just queen d7, just go for safe here. Because, okay, he's sacking pieces. I'll take. If he goes for pawn g7, I can take maybe an even castle. He just takes the rook, alright. Then I think I have time to arrest the queen. If pawn g7, still castling is an option. Taking the queen then would lead to mate. So I have to resolve that issue first. And the castling is fine, because then he can play rook at a8 and I can just block with the knight and it looks like I'm safe. So what he really wants is a knight for f6 here. And we might try to go for it. But that will lead to mate. If you take this, then I play knight at h3 and knight at e2. Okay, knight at e2 is now coming with bishop takes g2 mate. He did prevent me castling and he's almost starting his own attack, but he just didn't defend enough. Okay. Anju Nakamura again. Let's play e4 again. Play c6. Let's play advanced this time. Okay, he plays c5. C5 is a bit counterintuitive in Crazyhouse. It leaves some hole around your king. But White has to know what he's doing, and most of the time I don't know what I'm doing in the opening. I think bishop e3 to cover the knight, and I want to go to queen g4. Looks nice. And also pawn at d6 options. Usually when you encounter something you haven't seen before, it's most of the time just developing moves is the way to go. Queen h5 also looks interesting here actually. But I could just go queen g4. Okay, so now knight takes e6 comes to mind. Bishop takes e3 and just take the queen, I think. Yeah, just go for this. Still take the queen, I guess. And then take the bishop. Yeah. Maybe queen a4 in between was more accurate. I don't know. So, let's say I think I just have to take here. I could have saved the knight maybe, but because now queen f8, queen here, queen takes e5. I just had to check if pawn at d2 was something for him, but it isn't. Because knight c4 can be taken. And queen at f4 to maybe take f2 is also not an option because f2 is covered. So yeah, he can try to take the knight back, but it's actually not so good for him. Because this is just a really strong move, queen at f8. And if king takes, yeah, maybe even then queen at f8 still. Or just pawn at c7. Something like that. But the problem is that you have to figure all this out before you basically before you sacrifice, and that's a really hard thing to do. So you just go by guts a bit. Knight takes f7 looks natural. As does knight takes b7, and that covers the bishop. So I think I'll go with this one. Again, I had to check if queen at e6 was something here. I can always just block with pawn at e2, but I think even blocking with queen at e3 would be fine. But because still he has no entry squares for his knights, if he gains a knight. And now I'm just, yeah, also threatening knight d6 if he takes here. And again he has to calculate some lines, but I think I'm just going to take back actually. Maybe I'll go queen at c6. Block knight d6, take the rook. Okay, so he goes queen at c6. It allows bishop at b5. I am then giving up a bishop. Pawn d2, still not a problem, I think. So yeah, bishop at b5. The idea behind bishop at b5 is that if you move the queen, the knight is pinned, so queen at f8 is made then. So you cannot take this one. You can take this one, but I'll just take it back then. I've won a queen. That should be fine. So he takes once. And now he might sack on c5. But then I'll just take back. And then he has a bishop and a pawn in hand. And he's not going to mate with a bishop and a pawn here. And then he still has the issue of the pin on d7. And the knight attacking as well. And I have knight at c7, knight at d6. Just a lot of holes around his king. Okay, so he's going for this. I think pawn at e4. Mate in 1 is still threatened. No, he missed the mate in 1 threats. He didn't miss it, he just resigned. Seeing it, I guess. Alright, anti-suicide again. Let's play again knight f6. Play e5 now. And d6. Bishop e7. Okay, now he goes for d4. I think pawn at h3 now. Okay, I'll take. Okay, I messed up. Lol. This is a basic miss by me. And even king h8 was designed to be a bit cocky, but pawn h6 is just really strong. Okay, so I'm going to be in trouble for a couple of moves here. And maybe just losing. So let's see if we can find something. Alright, I'll just go pawn at h6 and try to defend. Yeah, he's going to pile up on this one. Maybe knight back was slightly more accurate. To preserve the knight in hand and use it somewhere else. And also, if I trade a knight, then a knight on e6 is really annoying. For example, you can now go takes, sack, and go pawn at g5. Alright, I'll just develop and let the storm come. I guess I'll take. Now I can take with the bishop. Now at least there's some maybe false, but at least some false sense then of security. And I have some stuff on d4. Might regain some pieces. So yeah, still far from ideal of course, but it's something. So yeah. Let's go pawn here. See if he wants to sack something. I think maybe take with the rook. Maybe I should have preserved the pawn and played this one immediately. Take with the queen, I guess. Alright, let's try knight e3. Doesn't seem to work, just bishop takes. Okay, but then I'll take with the pawn and bishop at e3. Okay, I'll go for knight at e3. Because if I just try to defend now, I will be dead. So I'm trying to regain initiative. And if he takes, probably queen takes is really good. So okay, he goes for this line. But now I have a bishop on this strong square. I have something. Let's see how he's going to defend. Probably with knight at g4, so maybe we have to try to prevent that. And maybe knight maybe queen, maybe knight at g4 is coming anyway. So I just went here, so I have the option to take this one off the back rank. So if knight at g4, I might play knight e5, or just pawn at g3 first and then knight e5. Don't know yet. At least I'm causing troubles. He's spending a lot of time, and he went for knight at g4. Okay. So I'll go pawn here. Let's stick to the plan. Keep pressure up. Because if takes, that opens up a lot of new possibilities. Pawn here and just sacking again. And it's not said that those options are good for me, but I want to take on h2. Let's just do it. As long as the rook is here, there's no knight mate, and the rook can be replaced. But I feel like there should be something. I have to watch out for knight at g6 and rook at h7, knight at g5 idea, if I give up a lot of material. So let's keep that in mind. Okay, so knight takes h2. What do we do then? Pawn here, he just moves back. Then knight e5 maybe. And bishop at d4. I don't know yet. I think I'm just losing. He might be also contemplating something like attacking here. Okay, he takes the rook. I'll take. Let's cover against the knight at f7 mate. Pretty important. And next maybe rook at g1. As well as taking the knight. Queen e5, also an option. Yeah, time is just running out, so as long as I'm not mated here, I'm just winning this game on the clock. Does this threaten mate in a few moves? Knight at g6, rook at h7. Let's just not risk it and play a couple of checks. And now just defend here. It's a bit lame, this one, but this is just making sure I win on the clock at this one. I should not allow so many pre-moves defending and just take the easy flag in the end there. And that's what you do in those kind of positions. Because I was just lost out of the opening. And then you try to push on the clock as well as on the position. Try to complicate, and most of the times it doesn't work. But now I was lucky. All right, so white didn't move. So that's a free win. Maybe didn't feel like playing me again. Alright, so the tournament is still lasting for another hour and I'm getting tired already. But I'll keep on playing, at least till I lose. If I lose one, then I might decide to call it a day quickly. This is going to be easy wins this way. But stronger players are joining. I see more 2200 names. Joining. All right, let's play b6, bishop b7. Okay, you might try for a quick e4 here. But I'll just counter with c5. Takes. Well, my knight is a bit lame on d7 actually. This sort of forces sacrifice. h6. He just sacks it on f3. Okay, now I'll go e5 then. I'll lock this in. That's okay. This kind of looks nice. Knight h5. Thinking about maybe replacing the knight there at some stage. a6, I guess. Bring the queen into play. Now already bishop at h3 looks nice. Let's do bishop at h3. And take. And knight at d2 is a mating threat. This is looking really strong for me. Or let's just play knight e2 now. He self-mated him with bishop at h1. Alright, can be sporty. Playing e4, we'll go for knight f6, and knight c6, and d5. I think bishop g4 might be a bit too aggressive, but no, actually this line, this whole setup is extremely aggressive by black. I think you can get away with it if white doesn't really know what he's doing. And not know, he does of course know what he's doing, but I mean like he doesn't know the most forcing way to continue. I think you have to go knight g5 maybe here. And I'll just go for this. And even h5 maybe. Okay, pawn at f3. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, queen takes, and now f7 is hanging. So bishop at g6. Guess. Feel like I misplayed this a bit. But alright, I'll go bishop at g6 and hope for the best. Take this one. Rook e1 seems like a useful move. Yeah, this is not looking good for me. He has to worry a bit about knight h4, but that's about it for my threats. And there are even some options of ignoring knight at h4. Because after I take the queen and he has some checking sequence, I only have the queen in hand, so it will be really hard for me to block checks. Okay, he stops the threat. Alright, I'll take the pawn. He has queen e3, winning back the knight, but I just want to get rid of this. Okay, now I'll go pawn here. I was just about to say I wanted to play bishop e7 and get rid of this one. Or at least have the option to take it. Does the queen sack work? That's basically the question. I think I can walk up. So queen takes, king e6. Or king e7 even. Knight at g5 is just sack the queen. So yeah, okay, let's see. King e7 seems the way to go. King e7, bishop at c5 is annoying. King here. I have to move quickly. Let's go king here. Still not out of the woods yet. I really need diagonal pieces. Okay, expecting bishop at h3 or g4. Bishop f4 may not have been most accurate, because you would like to get a knight actually there. Just taking this one so I can defend. I feel like he has me here. That might help me. Don't know just yet. Knight g5, I probably have to sack my queen because of time reasons. Maybe I can defend with king d6, but that will just lead to a lot of time loss. I'll have to proceed. Bishop d6. His defense is just too good here. Oh, too slow. That was really slow, wow. Ah, I got lucky. Nice. The streak continues. Oh, it's really lucky there. He had a blocker in hand. And he didn't have pieces to check me with, because that's usually in time trouble a problem. And now I could just pre-move a lot. But I should have lost that one. But wow, really lucky there. And yeah, again a free game, yeah. So I guess, yeah, it's not, it doesn't really matter anymore for the tournament, because I'm always winning. Don't see anyone getting 100 points in 1 hour. But yeah, it's not the most sportsmanship thing like to do, but then again, it's also understandable that you don't want to play a game where you feel like you have no chance of winning. This I think almost exactly the same we had before in this tournament. I don't know if you remember, but there was this early queen trade and an attack on g7, which was hardly stoppable. And now you cannot prevent the mate, or it's almost hard, almost not possible to prevent the mate. Had a bit of trouble with my words there. Yeah, so knight at h6 not so easy or not that hard to spot if you have played the game before. Does something? Maybe I can find it. Let's see, somewhere in the beginning. We'll see. Maybe someone remembers. Okay, let's play knight f6. Okay, and d5. And knight e4. Okay, so now you do have the option of playing f3, since you haven't played your knights yet. Okay, I'll play a6 and take. Don't know if a6 is the correct move. But why not? Let's go rook b8. See what he wants to do. Okay, castle. Then I'll just go here and put my bishop on f5 and play e6. And again, with the bishops here, there's also some threat of taking on c2. Alright, I'll take the pawn. Guess I'll take the rook as well. Maybe I'll take the knight first. No, I'll just take the rook. Yeah, okay, he has some ideas here maybe, but I'm just going to attack immediately. So for example, if takes, rook at b8, seems to be harassing my queen, but then there's already mating ideas. Oh, I should have pre-moved that. But I guess if you pre-move and you start drawing arrows, your pre-move gets removed. Okay, now forcing the king up. Almost forcing. King g1, pawn g2 should be tough to deal with. So yeah, the king comes up, and now let's see. Now h5, I guess. Yeah, I'll go h5. Alright, he missed this idea of pawn at g4. Maybe he could have taken even and then ran back. But this is just going to lose to f6. Maybe it isn't losing. Let's be precise. Ah, pawn here. Okay. Let's make a move. See if he wants to play. This time. Alright, there we go. And now it resigns. Alright, so 1 hour to go. And still not lost. I was planning on about to play a couple of hours and then end it, but of course it's too good now to not play on. Hey Sir Max, thanks for the follow. So knight h4, take the bishop and go e4. Now I have a nice center, and he would like a bishop on g4, but he doesn't have it yet. Could go d5 here. Could also just let it be for now. I think I'll go bishop here. Try to pile up on f6 and then maybe go for e5 or d5 break. It does give him the option of going for, I think e5 is an okay break for him here. And then take with the knight, of course. Yeah, so he goes e5. I'll just go d5 then. And bishop e3. Yeah. These squares are weak. So I might have to avoid trading pieces for a while. And he might try to force piece trading by something like this, by moving this knight basically. But he does have to sacrifice this one, this pawn, for the attack. Okay, he goes for this. I'll take and go bishop g5. Seems the most safe way, and have berserked, so need to keep an eye on the clock as well here. And now, if he doesn't do anything crazy, my idea is to go. Oh, sorry about this. Knight g5 and attack the light squares quickly. Nice move. If I move the knight, this one hangs. If I go here, he takes it. So I'll just stick with my knight g5 plan and sacking here. Put the knight back on g5. If the rook moves, then I try to win this bishop for bishop at e6. And he has knight at e3, I know, but then just go queen e2. And take the rook. Maybe if you take the rook like this, then knight at d4 comes. Yeah, this is a not really basic trick, but bishop at e6 always wins back the piece. Bishop here. Yeah, it doesn't mate, I guess, so I'll just go here. I have to take back the piece actually. Or maybe rook takes was possible as well. But now this is just mate in two. He had some mating ideas of knight at e2 and then the spotted mate pattern. But if I went rook takes f7, then I can block with the rook, and then there is the discovered check. You can see it here, the rook is on f7. Okay, anti-suicide again. Let's play quickly knight h4 again. And go for this. Bit funny looking, but queen b5 is really annoying. And also e4 is not supported. So just d5, if knight c5, queen b5. So knight c5 is now an option. So I guess just bishop here. If knight c5, queen g3 is always something. Yeah, I guess queen g3 is completely fine. Knight takes e4. Knight takes e4 is a really strong threat actually. So I have to go queen e3, I guess. Yes, some knight takes e4 and then pawn d2 is mate if I take the queen. Okay, so h3, let's get rid of this bishop quickly. Or at least gain space. Yeah, I can trade pieces now, couple. He gives up the queen. Oh, now I'm just giving up the bishop. I was trying to be clever, but it's not clever at all. Yeah, it's all like this is not looking good for me again. Don't try to be clever, guys. Just losing. Yeah, this is just lost. Yeah, I could even resign actually. But he might mess up. Okay, we'll see. That's something you can say, but in this position it will be really tough to mess up actually. You're just up so many materials. Just knight here. Next is crushing. Let's go queen at h5, one last cheapo shot. Take the pawn. Alright, mate in 2. Rook takes e2. You can also just take. Alright, the streak ends, guys. We had a good run. Okay, not to I already said that when I lost I was going to end soon, because it's past midnight already. I have stuff to do in the morning, but would be cool to play all stream long without losing a game. But I'll just play 2 more now then. Do not leave after the loss to make it seem like I rage quit it or something. Bishop g4. Yeah, it's indeed, it is hard to stay focused so long. Knight f4. And just maybe bishop at a6 actually. Can also just take. Yeah, I'll just take. And go bishop at e4. He could have taken with the pawn, but then knight at h3. If the queen sack, there's no knight entry just yet. He might try e6, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have enough material to make e6 work immediately. So the queen sack should not work. That's basically what I was thinking. And then he has to move the queen. Okay, and then I can try to find a move. Let's go knight f6. Cover d7. No shenanigans with pawn d7, and just developing a piece while gaining an extra pawn. And also one of the ideas is that the queen now probably has to move back to d1. And there it will be passive, and then I can go pawn at h3 maybe, or or something like that. Okay, going back to e2 is also possible. Might be better even. Queen e7, I guess. I want to go bishop takes g2. So queen b5. c6 maybe. Okay, let's just sack. Let's just make this a second game. Sack all, attack all. Knight at d2 takes d4, for example. Yeah, maybe you should have played. Sorry about yawning, guys. Maybe you should have played bishop at b5, or still play bishop at b5 to cover e2. Okay, I'll go for it now. Okay, let's sack it. Let's sack some more. While we're here, another knight for grabs. And now just pray that there is no mate. But I don't think there is. On the other hand, I'm not mating yet either. For example, the king can probably just move up. Okay, the bishop might help. Oh, he has found a lot of sacking ideas. Knight e5 takes here. Nice one. Problem is though that now he has to find a mate, because I have two queens. That should be more than enough. Let's take with the knight and then the rook. Yeah, I'm just going to take everything. Yes, knight here and knight there. But yeah, he's running out of diags now. So I'm just going to run. Something like that. Yeah, knight a6, king b7. Alright guys, I'm going to call it a night. Had a nice winning streak, but yeah, sadly lost that one. Still very happy with my play. Had a lot of strong games. Got lucky a couple of times as well, but overall, really nice, nice tournament. It has been a while since I had only one loss in the tournament, so happy with that. But now, yeah, it's past midnight, as I told you, so I'm going to call it a night. And I'll go raid Helm's Night, probably playing some Bughouse. Enjoy it there, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day wherever you are. See you later.